A very good morning to all. We already discussed and finished our first module. I know you are studied well the first module, the origin of angiosperms, primitive angiosperms, then fossil angiosperms, everything you studied. I hope like that. There is no way to test you. So already I have given you some assignments, some test paper, etc. I hope you studied well. If not, you have to prepare notes and also you have to study well. That's very important module. Okay, so I think there is no time to wait. We are moving to the second module. So today onwards we will discuss the second module about the classification. Okay, I hope you in your UG syllabus BSc classes you may be familiar with classification of angiosperms. Okay, so why we need a classification? When you put some of your dresses or books in your shelf, if it is all shuffled together, it is very difficult to you to take it back what you like. Okay, so in that situation, what people suggest or what your parents suggest to you, so arrange them in a particular order. If it is a case of a dress material, you can have your top or your shirts in one rack, your pants in one rack. Okay. Then your kerchiefs etc. in one rack or one cover, likewise. So it will be very useful. So identical things you put in one session or one bag, that will be more easy for you to handle. So that's also in the case of our plants also. Okay, there are different types of plants or angiosperms growing from various habitats, various morphology, various anatomy, then evolutionary history, etc. So how you will study them? It is very difficult if you are taking it random. So it's very difficult. So we need a proper arrangement. Then only we can easily study plants. So that is why there is a classification of plants. So I am not going into detail regarding the history. So anyway, we can look into what are the events happened in our pre-literate period, medieval period, so on. Okay, what's the history? So while you are studying everything, you should know about the history of that particular thing. That's very important. History is very important. So here, while discussing the classification of plants, you have to remember some important names. That should be always there in your mind. Okay, they actually created the platform. From the platform, the scientists developed new ideas and reached in this system. Okay, so we don't forget that history. So once we can go back, first people know only how to eat, how to drink, how to cure disease, everything they know, but only a little bit. Okay, that's information was accumulated and stored in the human brain, passed one generation to next generation. That's all. Clear? Okay, but now what is the condition now? Informations are stored in different way. For example, this is a way of storing information, what I am doing now. My video classes, recording and put it in the YouTube or in the Google Classroom. So you can look and many years after, many people can refer it. So what we are classifying books in the library, that's also same. So that is a system of studying recently. Okay. Then in the, heard about the medieval botany, Middle Ages, that is up to 15th century. What is happening? There is nothing, no progress in the botanical investigation. Okay, Europe and Asia in that time, they faced wars, huge wars, and there is no time, actually there is no way to think about the study of plants. Okay, then we have the, in our memory, always a botanist should remember the name of Theophrastus. Okay. He is known as the father of botany, a Greek philosopher, and he translated many things in English, Enquiry into Plant, Causes of Plants, likewise. So he described about 500 kinds of plants. Clear? Then in the Islamic botany, okay, that's another important. Some manuscripts in the Islamic botany. One picture you can see here. In the 15th century, people put this page from 15th century Arabic edition of Dioscorids herbal. Dioscoriaceae is a family, in that a member. Okay, so there is no, that time also there is no system of classification, but people try to explain the characters of plants and also recorded in that. Clear? Okay. Now we can have some of the very important taxonomists or a plant biologist who made a great contribution. Okay, I just go, so you should remember everything. And Cisalpino, Andrea Cisalpino, we will call it as Cisalpino, an Italian botanist, a professor of botany, and also he is a director of botanical garden in Bologna, and also he is having many volumes of plants, published many volumes of plant identification books, and very important, I think his classification system is also mentioned in some of your textbooks. Then John Ray, another very important, a British botanist, he is also published 3, that is Methodus Plantarum, everything in Greek, that is why the term like this, Historia Plantarum, etc. Okay, 18,000 species he studied and classified. Then another one is Tournefort. Tournefort is the father of genus concept. Actually, the concept of genus, the definition is given by Tournefort. He is a French botanist, published Elements de Botanique. Okay, and he is the first to give names and description of genera. It's very important. So you should never forget his name. We only remember some of the important, Bentham, Hooker, Linnaeus, etc. But more than that, some other contributions are here. So you should remember all these. Then, very well regarding the binomial nomenclature, generic name, species name, so and so. It is by the contribution of Carolus Linnaeus. Okay. So Linnaeus system is very important. He introduced a binomial system of nomenclature, and his book is Species Plantarum in 1753. Okay. Then in that time there are 2 main systems of classification. One is artificial system and another one is natural system of classification. So what is done in the artificial system is just grouping. Just grouping. That is unrelated plant species are grouped together. Okay. So maybe based on some characters like sex organs or nature of flower, only that much. It's not a perfect system. Okay. Then after that natural classification, here relationships among taxon is considered. So that is more important. So many of them followed natural system. Then Linnaeus system is very important, and Linnaeus introduced binomial nomenclature, generic name and species name, and Latin publication, etc. Example, Phoenix dactylifera is a scientific name of our common date palm. Okay, generic name and species name. Okay, that is binomial nomenclature. Then Linnaeus published the book Species Plantarum in 1753. Don't forget the name. And also he classified based on the plant's method of reproduction and structure of reproductive part. So this is also very important. You can see the photographs of the Species Plantarum, and his plants, he divided plants into 24 classes only. Okay. So actually Linnaeus made a platform for plant classification. So that's very important. He grouped them plants into 24 classes only. Okay. And published the book Species Plantarum also. Then another, I am not describing everything, so I just want to use some of the names. Michael Adamson, French botanist, and then Jean B.P. Lamarck, naturalist, about him. Then Anthony Laurent de Jussieu. De Jussieu is very important. 15 classes and 100 orders he classified, and the author of Genera Plantarum. Don't forget, confuse with the name Species Plantarum by Linnaeus. Here it is Genera Plantarum. Okay. Then De Candolle, another very important person, De Candolle. Okay. De Candolle published Theoria Elementaire de la Botanique, everything in the name Latin. Okay. And also his contribution is also great in the field of classification. Okay. Now, there are 3 broad categories: beta taxonomy, gamma taxonomy, and omega taxonomy. So what all these? So you see, beta taxonomy means just considering the affinities and interrelationship, okay, between groups. Affinity and interrelationship between groups is a very simple concept. That is beta taxonomy. Okay. Then what about gamma taxonomy? Here affinity, interrelationship, and one very important aspect, that is evolution of one species from other. Understood? Okay. What are here in the gamma taxonomy? You can see the affinities, interrelationship together with what? Evolutionary relationships or evolution of one species from the other. That is gamma taxonomy. Then when you come to the omega taxonomy, What is here? Everything included. Okay, what we said here, affinity, interrelationship, evolution plus various data from ecology, phytochemistry, phytogeography, cytogenetics, physiology and so and so. Molecular biology, everything. That is the latest one, that is Omega taxonomy. So based on everything, for example, you have two plants in your hand, clear? One example is osimum, you know, tulasi. And another example is mint, you know, pudina. Okay, so that means now you know both are in the Lamiaceae group. So you forget it. How you will classify? So you classify it by describing its morphology, again by relationship between them, their affinities you will check, the evolutionary status you will check, and when you feel this is not enough, then you think about phytochemistry, you think about cytogenetics, chromosome number, its similarities, clear? Then you will think about another aspects, a new one, that is molecular taxonomy. So you will take the sequences, the data, and you will compare, clear? DNA sequencing. So likewise we will move on. So that is the very advanced branch, that is Omega taxonomy. Clear? I hope you understood well. Next, what are the different types of biological classification? There are mainly three types of classification system. That is artificial system, I told you, just a few characters considering, and no relationship, no affinity. What about natural system? I told you some of the affinities, morphology, relationship, etc. But in phylogenetic system, they will trace back evolutionary history. Okay, so that is based on that evolutionary history classify. So this is the most recent one, phylogenetic system. Most of our classification systems are natural systems, but the modern systems are phylogenetic. Understood? Now, artificial system, I told you morphological details or some phylogenetic relationship, but its merit is importance of the history of biological classification, means very important in the history of biological classification. The first very beginning, this system is followed. Then demerits, what are the demerits? Here closely related species may be placed away, means closely related species are not in one group, clear? Then evolutionary relationship are not understood, that are the demerits. The natural system, several natural characters they are considering, and widely accepted system, merit is easy means of identification, like our Bentham and Hooker system. And also demerit is, here also no phylogenetic consideration. Okay, first two system, demerit is no phylogenetic consideration. When you look the phylogenetic system, what is the condition? Evolutionary sequence and genetic relationship is taken in consideration. So it resulted in development of an experimental taxonomy. Okay, molecular, cytogenetics, everything. So let us pass on to our first aspects. So here up to this I gave you an introduction regarding the classification. Now we are move on to the two systems that you have to study. You have to compare the two systems. Okay, it's what is the system includes, what are the merits, what are the demerits, and you should compare the two systems. Clear? So first one is Bentham and Hooker system of classification. I know you studied this well in your degree classes, BSc classes. So you have to refer your textbook, your notebook, everything, and just go and just study this. So I am here giving you a brief structure on Bentham and Hooker system, just to remember you. Okay. So they are both two English botanists, well-known botanists. Their classification, you know, published in the 3-volume book, namely Genera Plantarum. Understood? Hooker supervised what? The publication of Index Cubensis. That's a very important book for reference. Clear? And many important herbaria of the world are arranging the specimens according to what? Bentham and Hooker system of classification. We also following what? Bentham and Hooker system of classification. So we should make it thorough. Clear? According to them, there are three classes. What are they? dicotyledons, gymnospermae and monocotyledons. You know what is dicotyledon, what is gymnosperms, what is monocotyledon. I am not describing it, you know very well. Okay. Then the class dicotyledone, again each class is again divided into subclasses, then series, and then again into some orders, families, etc. Okay. So we can have, what are the three subclasses of dicotyledone? What are they? Polypetalae, gamopetalae, monoclamidae. Okay. Polypetalae means it includes the plant's flowers with a polypetalous condition. You know, petals are free. Gamopetalae means petals are fused. Monoclamidae means there is no differentiation into petals or sepals. That is known as perianth. Understood? Okay. Then I just go through, just to remember you about Enkler and Prandtl system. Also you studied in degree classes. He also published a book, and his classification is also very important. 11 divisions in the Enkler and Prandtl system of classification. Algae or thallophytes also included in the system. Two groups, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Not going into detail, no need to study. Then another aspects of system of classification is the latest one, angiosperm phylogeny group, APG system of classification. This is published by Angiosperm Phylogeny Group, a team of botanists, taxonomists from all over the world is in that APG system. And it has different versions. First published in 2018. Then again it is another revision after 2000, actually published in 2008, work started before that. Then again 2013, then recent also there. Then current APG is the APG 4. I told you 1998 itself started, that's why now fourth system APG 4 having 416 families. Okay. In Bentham Hooker only 202 family. Here 416 family. Here phylogenetic relationship is very, very important. Okay. Here also you can see 40 monophyletic orders. What do you mean by monophyletic orders? Plants coming from a single genera. I given you the in the introductory part. I given in the description of monophyletic. What is monophyletic? And in this group you check. Here you can see monocots, commelinoids, eudicots, core eudicots, rosids, eurosids 1, 2, asterids, likewise it is classified. Okay, now we are move on to Bentham and Hooker system. So what is Bentham and Hooker system of classification? This system is proposed by two scientists together, and they published the book Genera Plantarum, George Bentham and Joseph Hooker. Okay, and 202 family I already told, and also there are 97,205 seed plants here. Clear? Okay. Now, they divided phanerogams or seed plants into three categories. What are they? Once we discussed, what are they? Yes, dicotyledons, gymnospermae and monocotyledons. Clear? Now, class 1 is dicotyledone. What is the nature? Dicotyledonous plants, seed dicotyledonous, reticulate venation, tetramerous or pentamerous in 5s or 4s. And three subclasses, what are they? Polypetalae, gamopetalae and monoclamidae. I told you what is polypetalae, gamopetalae and monoclamidae. Okay. Now subclass 1, polypetalae. Petals are free and having distinct calyx and corolla. This subclass divided into three series. What are they? Thalamiflorae, Disciflorae, Calciflorae. What is Thalamiflorae? What is Thalamiflorae? You studied it already. It is including thalamus. What is thalamus? Shaped dome or conical thalamus. Okay. 6 orders and 34 families. What is Disciflorae? The term itself indicates a disc-shaped thalamus. Okay. Ovary is superior. 4 orders and 23 families. You should study it like this. No way to escape. Then series 3, Calciflorae. What is Calciflorae? Another cup-shaped thalamus. How can you differentiate? When you got a flower, you have to group them into these categories. Series 1, series 2, 3. First you should say that is it in the polypetalae, is it in the gamopetalae, or is it in the monoclinidae? Okay, that you know how to classify them. Okay, then what is the next step? If it is a polypetalae, you should divide them into thalamiflorae, disciflorae, or calciflorae. How you? Based on the structure of thalamus. What is a thalamus? Thalamus is a cup-shaped structure. On above that, floral bolts are arranged. Clear? Cup-shaped structure. Cup-like or a flat structure. So, thalamiflorae, it is dome or conical shape. Example, you know, annona. When you cut annona flower, you can see dome or conical shape. Okay. Then disciflorae, a disc-shaped thalamus present. When you, some of the examples, you know, you studied about the family of Rutaceae. You can see. Then calciflorae, what is a cup-shaped structure? Cup-shaped thalamus. Likewise, it is classified Rutaceae family, you know. Okay. Then subclass to gamopetalae, means petals are united, okay, or partially fused, or maybe. 3 series, what are they? Inferae, heteromerae, and bicarpellate. Inferae means here usually inferior ovary. That is a common phenomenon. Here bicarpellate nature. Heteromerae means different in between, different nature. The corolla and all having different nature. Then next is inferae. What is inferae? I told you epigynous or inferior ovary. Here also 3 orders and 9 family. Heteromerae, inferior you studied the Rubiaceae, you know. Heteromerae, flowers hypogynous, superior, more than 2 carpel. More than 2 carpels. What is that feature? Hypogynous ovary. Okay. 3 orders and 12 families are there. Your Supportaceae is coming under this. Then bicarpellate, what is? Bicarpellate, hypogynous ovary, superior 2 carpels. Here the term bicarpellary, 2 carpels. Most of them you studied in the Apocynaceae, Asclepiadaceae, everything coming under bicarpellate. So, inferae, heteromerae and bicarpellate. Subclass gamopetalae. It's a series. Okay. Then subclass 3 monoclinidae. What are they? Plants having flowers in single word. No differentiation into petals and sepals. You might call it as perianths. Okay. So, flowers are incomplete. You studied Euphorbiaceae in your degree classes. Okay. They are not distinguished. That you can call them as tepals instead of petals and sepals. Okay. 8 series and 36 families. Euphorbiaceae, one among them. Then Gymnosperm, I am not going into detail. You know what is naked ovules or seeds. Ovary absent. Okay. 3 families. Nitaceae, Coniferae and Cycadaceae. We already discussed it. Okay. Now monocotyledone, last one. What is the condition of monocotyledone? Only one cut. It's class 3. Monocotyledone, only one cotyledon. Leaves parallel venation and floral whorls usually trimerous. 3 plus 3 condition. 3 petals, 3 sepal. Not petal or sepal, not differentiation, but 3 plus 3 condition usually. Okay. Fibrous root system, parallel leaf venation. It's very important. 7 series and 34 families. Okay. So, in brief, what we classified? Dicotyledone, then monoclinidae, then monocotyledone. Dicotyledone, gamopetalae, then polypetalae. Sorry, little bit confused. So, dicotyledone, gymnosperm, monocotyledone. Dicotyledone, polypetalae, gamopetalae, monoclinidae. Okay. Polypetalae again divided into thalamiflorae, disciflorae, calciflorae. Clear? Okay. Then gamopetalae also inferae, heteromerae and one more is the bicarpellate. Then monoclinidae, what is the condition? No petals, no sepals, perianth system. Okay. Then gymnosperm, you know what is gymnosperm? Naked ovules, naked seed bearing plants. That is Coniferae, Nitae and Cycadaceae. Then monocotyledon, last group, parallel venation, fibrous root system. Okay. Now let us pass on to the merits of Benthaman-Hooker system. What are the merits? Description is very accurate. Then identification is very easy and very handy. System has practical convenience. So you will follow this system. Okay. Then polypetalae, what are the demerits? So this is merits, demerits. Polypetalae includes thalamiflorae and calciflorae of decanthode system. The same here. Then Benthaman-Hooker distinguished a new series. So that is advantage. Disciflorae, a new series also included. So in the previous system only 2, here a new series included. Okay. That is very important one. Though differentiation, hypogyny to epigyny, that is done in the system of Benthaman-Hooker. It's an advantage. Okay. Then treating Cucurbitaceae and Umbelliferae at the end of polypetalae. The connecting link between polypetal and gametale. So when you just look at, you can see at the end of polypetalae, the two family Apiaceae, that is Umbelliferae, and one more family Cucurbitaceae. Clear? Then gamopetalae begins. So this is a end. Actually, what is continuity? The link between poly and gamopetal. That's also another advantage. The creation of monoclamidae at the end of dicots. Okay. Then disputed family means some family having no definite structure, relation, etc. is included in a separate order, Ordine's anomaly. Okay. Placing unisexual monocot in bisexual after bisexual, unisexual after bisexual. Okay. Then Glumaceae, extremely reduced flowers and inflorescence are included in the family Glumaceae. That are all advanced. Then what is the demerits? No idea regarding evolutionary history of genera, family and order. Then grouping is based on single and artificial characters only. Then monoclamidae is entirely an artificial one. And also dicotyledon and monocotyledon extremely anomalous, that is keeping gymnosperm in between. Then system do not show any phylogenetic relationship. And Compositae is advanced family placed in inferior at the beginning of gamopetal. That is another demerit. And Orchidaceae is advanced, treated in the beginning of monocots. Then Liliaceae and Amandidaceae are kept apart. Both are same, somewhat similar characters, but they split into two families. So these are the demerits. Okay. So I hope you already have a basic idea regarding the classification. Bentham and Hooker you already studied. So I just give a brief account of Bentham and Hooker. Now it is your duty to study in detail what are the families coming under each series, each order. What are the families? You should study in detail regarding. You have to take a chart paper and draw classification diagrammatic, including every family is there.